What is going on, guys and gals? Brooklyn bound the Raid Scientist here with another Destiny 2 video. Grandmaster Nightfalls released during the Season of the Worthy to give endgame players some much needed content, as there has been no raid released since October of 2019, and unlikely another release until the fall of 2020. Did Bungie deliver with these Grandmaster Nightfalls? Let's break down the highs and lows of them, as well as provide some tips and tricks in helping you overcome them. The Grandmaster Nightfalls are able to provide a true endgame experience for those hardcore players who have grinded out their power level in excess of 1025 and can coordinate, communicate, and play through the enemies that can one-shot you from afar, champions with mountains of health and modifiers that make many cringe. Extinguish is active, no radar, incoming elemental damage is increased, and you are capped at 25 power lower than the enemies with contest mode active. In Destiny 2 to date, we've had very few experiences, other than maybe attempting a flawless raid run or the heroic menagerie, that really required you to completely spec yourself out with mods and weapons and have a coordinated plan of attack for each and every scenario. I think this is good for the game and gives the endgame PvE players something to challenge them. The feeling of accomplishment
Yes! 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 Oh, fucking finally!
when you complete one or even complete all 6 to obtain the title can really give you that pride of overcoming a difficult task. So many attempts at some of these would go just perfectly until you get to the boss room, or maybe another difficult spot, and you can literally wipe out a run in seconds with a misplaced super or not accounting for an enemy, causing you to literally start all over from scratch. Frustrating as it may be at times, you have to accept that in some situations, requiring flawless execution and communication is the only way to move forward. For being as limited in resources to provide new content this season, I think the Grandmaster Nightfalls hit the nail on the head in providing this sweaty endgame PvE content that players need. And that's right where the list of positive things about the GM Nightfalls ends. Other than the rush of completing something difficult, or maybe chasing the Conqueror title, there is literally no other reason to do them. There is no pinnacle loot, other than if you complete a Nightfall at 100,000 points. No ritual weapon reward specific to either the title or the strikes. No emblem, no shaders, no ornaments, literally nothing worth chasing. You can farm Ascendant Shards, Prisms, and chances for exotics on the Master version, which is much easier. So other than getting your first clear, or maybe helping a friend, there is absolutely zero replayability on them. During a season without ritual weapons, no new PvE content, and trials launching half-baked with reskin rewards, the Grandmaster Nightfalls needed to provide more, and they just didn't. At the end of the day, Destiny is a loot-centric game, and is the main driving force in giving people a reason to play activities. Without anything worthwhile to achieve, the thrill of the challenge isn't enough to appease the majority of the community. While Bungie yet again missed the mark here to deliver meaningful endgame content, it didn't deter me from grinding out a new title and taking on the challenge of finishing each of these strikes. I just hope we can sink our teeth into something more substantial in the season to come. For those of you looking to finish up the Conqueror title with about a week left in the season, here are my top recommendations for overall success in each of the Grandmaster Nightfalls of Season 10. First, mod selection is key to managing your ammo and abilities. At minimum, you want to make sure you have on Special Ammo Finder, Heavy Ammo Finder on your helmet, Special Finisher on your class item, Special Ammo Scavenger on your legs, and reserve mods for whatever weapons you are running. In addition, Boss Resist and Major Resist mods will help against champions, and a few underrated mods that were available in the Season of Dawn are Protective Light and Taking Charge. Taking Charge will make you charged with light anytime you pick up an Orb of Light, which is very frequent, and Protective Light will increase your damage resistance by a ton when your shields are broken, using Charged with Light. Utilize this combo to improve your survivability. Pay attention to your artifact mods as well, especially Passive Guard if using a sword, and additional ways to disrupt champions using grenades and throwing knives. Weapon selections will vary largely based on a champion type and the strike overall. In general, anything close range like a shotgun, fusion rifle, or SMG is pretty useless against the enemies because they're way too lethal. The Grandmaster Nightfalls are a slow, strategy-based and ranged type of activity. For any of the strikes containing anti-barrier enemies, running an Ariana's Vow is your best option, as this allows you to break the barrier from a much further distance than a sidearm or an SMG will allow. While it does eat up your exotic slot, there are still many viable legendary heavies and primaries you can pair it with. Keep in mind, in future seasons, the artifact may allow longer range weapon types to have champion mods, but this is what we had in Season 10. For strikes with overload enemies, use the Divinity to stun them. If you don't have Divinity, I recommend getting it, as it does make endgame content overall much easier. I have a video that I can link in the description to help you get it. You can also equip Disrupting Blade on a sword for overloads, as well as equip it on hand cannons as well in Season 10. For Unstoppable, I typically use a hand cannon. Other highly effective weapons in the Grandmaster Nightfalls are Mountaintop, Anarchy, 21% Delirium, Hammerhead, and Izanagi's Burden. With weapon sunsetting coming up soon, these metas may change. While I'm not going to go through the full setups for each strike individually, you'll want to just match up your fire team with a balance of champion mods, heavy hitting weapons to clear them quickly, and swords are highly effective against the Exodus, Crash, and Tree of Probabilities boss encounters, where Anarchy and Snipers are much better for Broodhold, Insight Terminus, and Warden of Nothing. There are multiple strategies for clearing each boss room, so don't lock yourself in on one way of doing it if something isn't working. For example, when I cleared Broodhold, I was consistently using 21% Delirium for heavy, as it helped along the way for knights and clearing ads. But it just didn't pack enough heat to damage the boss, and it requires you to stand out and be vulnerable while damaging the witches to their void and solar attacks. So I switched to Anarchy, changed my entire mod selection for grenade launchers, and we literally cleared it on our next attempt. For exotic armor, the meta stuff is still going to reign supreme here. Hunters will likely be running top or bottom tree tether for Invis, and exotic armor such as Orpheus Rig or 6 Coyote will be your best options. Warlocks may vary what subclass based on the strike, typically either Slova Bomb Warlock with Chaos Accelerant and Controverse Hold, or Well of Radiance with Phoenix Protocol. Finally, Titans typically are running Bubble for the Weapons of Light and Survivability, using Crest of Alpalupi or Helm of St. 14, or if they're running Middle Tree Banner Shield, using Ursa Furiosus. Overall, whichever Nightfall you're doing, it may take a few runs to master the locations of all the champions and the best ways to approach each room with the best success. Typically, the boss encounters are the most difficult, although there are a few you can cheese to make them substantially easier. Use cover, communicate, and take your time, and you can eventually conquer the Grandmaster Nightfalls. I really appreciate you watching and listening to my thoughts. My community here is growing larger and larger each day, and all the comments, support, and subscriptions are really helping me achieve my goal of spreading content across the Density universe. Best of luck out there, Guardians, and take care of one another. Until next time.